Namaskar, good evening. This is Ramkumari Karnahke. I'm a poetess and educator. Along with Mr. Ravi Shukla sir, we welcome you once again here. Friends, this is a channel of TNB, the new Bharat. With this platform, every week we are inviting educationalists who can guide us more about their topic, which can help not only the teachers as well as the students also to improve their aim, to improve their knowledge and to learn something which is very important. Today, it's my immense pleasure to welcome today's guest, who is from country Armenia, Dr. Arusyak Ivanyan. She is a PhD holder. She is an English lecturer. And once again, we welcome you here, ma'am.
Hi
Ma'am,
everyone.
kindly tell us more about yourself. Yes, kindly tell us more about yourself, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you for your kind introduction, wonderful introduction. You have already said a lot of myself about myself, but I want to add something more that I like to work with Indians and cooperate with them because I learned so much from you, and I like the way how you collaborate with the foreign experts, with the foreign educators, and that is really great. Today's topic that I would like to present is empathy, is empathetic listening, which is very important nowadays. And could you please, sir, change the slides if possible? Because um, so
Yes, ma'am. So,
okay, in
ma'am,
our country, in 2000 and if I'm not mistaken, 19, I have participated in a training which was held by U.S. Embassy Yerevan. And the training was about the 7 habits of highly effective people. You know the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which was written by Stephen Covey. So that book gave me a lot of insights, and the training also became very important for me from that time and now, because we have, then after training, we created a team, 5 members, and we are now doing trainings, each of us presenting one habit. My habit is number 5, which is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So in this habit, it is very clearly explained and described empathetic listening, which is very important. The most important thing for me is that empathetic listening is taught in American and European countries. And of course, that is a core for communication, for mutual communication, in my opinion. So, what is empathy? Could you please change the slides?
yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your introduction. It's awesome. And the topic which you have selected, that is really great, ma'am. Ma'am, uh, what do you think? Why this topic is important for the students?
This topic is important for the students because firstly, what is the core of communication between people? It is empathy. When we listen to each other, understand each other's needs, and empathy provides effective communication. For students, it's very important, and empathy should be taught not only in the family, but also in kindergarten, at school, at colleges. And so, in my subjective opinion, empathy should be taught and should be included as a teaching subject at educational curriculum. So, what is empathy? Empathy is the action of understanding and being aware of another person's feelings and emotions. So, simply put, empathy is the ability to step into someone else's shoes and to feel and understand their needs. It
Okay.
is, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, please tell us what are the stages of empathic listening?
So first stage is to try to understand. So um, when so first stage is to ask questions to your friends. So when you see something is wrong with someone else, to your interlocutor, you may ask questions. So with the intent to listen, yes, and first to listen, ask questions, then listen and try to understand. Where does empathy come from? Is it generic? Are we born with it, or do we learn to be empathetic over time? Recent studies suggest that both genetics and our environment play a role in how each of us develop and process empathy. So, genetics, certain parts of our brain tend to regulate empathy. Therefore, some people's ability to develop empathy can be more difficult if that area of the brain is not properly functioning. Our environment, the majority of studies suggest that environment, how we are raised and our life experiences tends to make the largest impact on each of us in developing empathy. Okay, so can empathy be learned? Of course. At first, I mentioned it should be taught in the family. Uh, Of course, yes. Though some people may have a more difficult time, though some people may have a more difficult time learning and understanding empathy, it does not mean they can't. So there are lots of methods how to teach empathy, with the help of videos, with the help of cards, with the help of, so even your example as role model can be a source of learning. Empathetic, yeah. Why
Yes,
is
ma'am.
mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Please continue, ma'am.
Why it's important to have empathy? Because it's an important social skill. Empathy allows you to better connect with people and foster healthy relationships. Empathy encourages us to represent and care for each other. Empathy encourages us to show compassion and understanding for others and helps make our communities a better place to live. And lastly, effective leaders are empathetic. So mirroring is very important. And how can we develop and build empathy? There are several approaches that people can take in an effort to help them with the developing and building of empathy. First one is learning about the benefits of showing empathy. Second one is identifying and reading the emotions in others. Number three is being able to place yourself in other people's shoes. Number four, listening to people's feelings. Number five, understanding your own emotions. When you listen to empathetically, you should also watch signals. Watch the signals. So first, during your conversation with your interlocutor, first of all, you should, what I mean first, you should stop talking and listen empathetically when emotion is high. You must get to the heart of an issue. You feel that you don't understand. The other person doesn't feel understood. The second step is slow down. Watch and be ready to listen empathetically. And Also, the third signal is go forward and seek to be understood when the issue is clear and mutually understood, the conversation is casual and unemotional, and you are asked to give counsel or advice. Identifying and reading the emotions in others. It's very important. Use your imagination and place yourself in the place of others. This is the core of empathetic listening. You can listen, it's a place. You can use your imagination to gain a better understanding of how someone might feel. Before you judge a man, walk a mile in his shoes. This means before judging someone, you must understand his or her experiences and challenges by imagining how you would feel in their situation. By placing yourself in someone else's shoes, you are able to obtain a deeper understanding of them, which helps foster empathy. And also, tips for seeking to be understood. Empathetic listening is important that you not only should try to understand your interlocutor, but also you should to be understood by him. So, tips for seeking to be understood. Let me read it for you. First one is if the person are speaking with interrupts, you consider saying, would you be willing to listen to me like I've listened to you? Or before we go there, do you mind if I finish my thought? Or that sounds interesting. Can we come back to it later? Or I appreciate your thoughts. Will you be willing to hear me out before coming up with an answer? Or you could be right. I'd like to share my thinking about being interrupted right now. Will that work for you? The second tip is if the person you are speaking with becomes emotional, what should we do? Return to empathetic listening before you continue speaking. Take a break and return to the conversation later. And number three, if you still don't feel understood after the conversation, follow up with a written version of your point of view. Agree to schedule a future time to finish the conversation or prepare the conversation by using the win-win agreement tool, which is included in habit number 4. So listening to other people's feelings is very important. As I've already mentioned, empathy skills can be developed with the tips I've already mentioned.
Ma'am,
Yes.
please tell us the benefits of it. What are the benefits are there?
So the benefit is effective communication of empathetic listening and healthy communication. And each of us building empathy. What is the core of understanding your own emotions? It all starts with you. Building empathy starts with yourself. If you want to understand the person in front of you, first of all, you should make efforts to listen carefully, attentively, and try to understand, and then to be understood. This is the core of healthy communication.
Yes, ma'am. Now, please explain us, ma'am, understanding emotions. How
Understanding
can we understand?
emotions. Yes. So listening is can be defined in a broad sense. What is listening? We have ears for listening, but sometimes we listen uh, in just pretending to listen. We do not listen. So when the person is speaking in front of us, we are not listening, just pretending. It's not empathetic listening. Empathetic listening is when you are trying to listen with your heart, with your eyes. We have also eye listening. What is eye listening? When you are taking attention on the features, on the mood, when you are feeling inside what is happening to the person. So this is the answer of your question.
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Thank you.
Ma'am, what are the strategies of empathic listening?
So what are the strategies? What do you mean by saying empathic listening strategies?
Yes.
So we have when we speak about empathic listening strategies, we can also understand digital strategies, which can be phone and also email or texting. These are also type of communication. So in this, one of the strategies is to allow the other person to finish his or her thoughts completely before responding. But when you are speaking on the phone, if emotions is high, reflect feeling and words when listening. Use I message when speaking. And after clarifying questions, do I understand you completely? This can be so using communication technologies, devices like phone or internet can be empathetic listening strategies, way of communication.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, please share your own experiences where you
My
have
own
used this
experience.
empathic,
Yes,
yeah,
of
your
course.
own experience.
Well, I am working at the university. I am communicating with numerous students, and I use my techniques to communicate with my students during the lesson. If I see some student do not have a mood, I do not ask the lesson or homework, or I do nothing with him. I just left him because I see in my eyes and feel inside that something is wrong with the student, and I treat appropriately with him. I behave appropriately with this or that students, not only in the classroom, but also with my colleagues when I work with them. I use my empathetic listening skills with the colleagues as well, because empathetic listening can be perceived broadly in a wide sense. You can use it not only with your students, but also with your colleagues at the workplace. Ma'am, I cannot hear you.
This an empathic listening topic. Oh,
Could you please repeat the question again? Because I couldn't hear you. One of my experiences, yes, you asked. So we are doing daily speaking activities with the different audiences, school children, with the teachers. We are like acting like performing as trainers in front of them. Each of us presenting our habits. I'm presenting my habit number 5, which is about empathetic listening. I'm sharing videos. We are analyzing. They are asking questions. I'm explaining the importance of empathetic listening in communication. So, and I'm as an author, because I'm also an author. I'm writing books, not only professionally, but also I'm trying to write a book about empathetic listening for teachers, and include it as a subject at schools because I see the importance of teaching as a subject at schools. This is all from my side. I prepared a little part of empathetic listening because there is much to speak about it now.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this empathic listening topic is seems new in this education. Is it, ma'am?
Yeah, it's new. I am trying to include it in the Armenian teaching society.
So, do you have any syllabus for this, or what are the things which we should add in this topic so student can understand easily?
Empathetic listening, they can understand, for example, the lesson should be interactive for understanding. So they can understand empathetic listening can be taught with the pictures, for example. Uh, for example, you can show different pictures, faces, emojis, and tell them, uh, ask them questions. How is the mood of this or that person? In that case, that will develop their empathetic listening skills, their eye listening skills. Of course, when I say eye listening skills, it is perceived metaphorically, not directly. We cannot listen with eyes. We can listen with ears, but also we can listen metaphorically with eyes and our heart.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, for the new generation, for the new students, those who don't know the empathic listening, which message you would like to give them?
Uh, as for message, I would like to say to all the students, be attentive and take care of their friends, be friendly to each other, to try to understand each other, help each other to grow and not to be jealous. Uh, so try to understand each other. This is the first step for students. And not only in the educational atmosphere, but also in the family. They should be attentive to their parents, and accordingly, parents should be attentive to their children because empathetic listening refers not only children but also parents. Sometimes parents don't understand their children, so that is why empathetic listening is very important, not only for adults but also for teenagers.
Yes, ma'am. For everybody, it is. Ma'am, please share, if possible, one example with your parents how you have guided them about the empathic listening.
I am mother of two daughters. I am parent. Sometimes my daughter comes home from school and she says, "I don't want to go to school." And I'm bringing my autobiographical example saying, "Why don't you want to go to school? Go to school. You are learning a lot of subjects. You are creating your future." But and I'm so busy. But at first, I was so busy I couldn't understand my daughter. Then I see the problem is going deeper and deeper, and then I stopped myself and so try to understand my daughter, ask her questions, try to go deeper to her emotions, try to um, try to understand her feelings, what's wrong. So and our problem is solved. So the healthy questions, so asking correct questions to your child will solve a lot of problems. So Asking correct questions is the core of empathetic listening. I say you, empathetic listening is, in a broad sense, very difficult to explain. There is much to say about it. For parents, empathetic listening is important to understand your child. For children, empathetic listening is important to understand parents.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for telling us everything about empathic listening. I think this topic was new for the students to understand, but you have really justified your topic experience and your presentation. You have told us about the benefits of it, the strategies of it, and the
The thing is that, ma'am, I
yes.
couldn't hear
So
your
I
last
hope
sentence.
yes, ma'am. Actually, in India, rain is going on. I'm repeating my words. We are grateful to you, ma'am. You have explained us new topic. You have guided us about the empathic listening, and definitely everybody will get benefited with this topic. And dear friends, once again, in our next week, we will meet with another guest who will explain us something new topic. And thank you so much, ma'am, for
Thank you
accepting our
too.
invitation and guiding us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Goodbye.